So this week, boys and girls, you are going to complete a spreadsheet on your own. Inside of Google Classroom, there is an assignment called Spreadsheet Independent Activity, and the directions say you're going to create a spreadsheet on your own. You have three options for what spreadsheet you will create. Make sure you read and follow all instructions. Your options for the spreadsheet will be to either make a spreadsheet about grades, your subject area grades. You can make a spreadsheet about COVID-19, or you can make a spreadsheet about vacations. The way this works is the directions for each of those options are inside of Google Classroom. So the first one is grades. The second one is COVID-19. And the third one is vacation. Additionally, inside of Google Classroom are sample spreadsheets. These sample spreadsheets are of mock grades. And the reason why they are of grades is because these are spreadsheets that students made in previous years. And in previous years, I did not give them an option. Their only option was to make a spreadsheet about grades. So you have a sample of grade spreadsheets inside of Google Classroom. You also have our scale right here, and you have a spreadsheet template. So if I click on this spreadsheet template, I have a blank spreadsheet. And what I will do is I will make this a little bit larger. And what I want to do is give you an idea of how this spreadsheet is going to work and how you can set it up. If you don't understand something from what we did last week, you are welcome to go watch the video from the previous week. All I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you one new thing that is required in this spreadsheet and just kind of give you a jump start so that you can see how to get started. The first thing, if I go to my directions and I'll make a sample COVID spreadsheet. It says create a spreadsheet on your own that displays information about COVID-19. The spreadsheet will focus on the following elements. You will choose 4 states or countries. Identify either the number of new cases for a 5-day period within the last 2 weeks or the number of COVID-19 deaths for a 5-day period within the last 2 weeks. There's a link right here. If I click that, I will get access to all of that information. So I have a graph here, and that's what you see on this website. And where you would get that information for is right here. So right here is the state of New Jersey. I can change that from new cases to deaths. I'm going to make this sample spreadsheet about new cases. And it says within a 2-week period. So if I click all time, I'll change that to 2 weeks. And now if I put my mouse over each little spike or decline right here, it tells me on October 6th, there was 629 new cases in New Jersey. October 7th, 509 new cases in New Jersey. October 8th, 1,298 new cases in New Jersey, and so on and so forth. You could change the state. So remember, you have to have either 4 states or 4 countries. So let's say I was going to do California. This would tell me those same dates for California. If you wanted to do countries, you can change this to countries. I'll just choose Albania, and you can separate it by weeks as well and just hover over it and it gives you that information. So if I go back to my spreadsheet, we can start typing that information in. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give my spreadsheet a title. So I'm going to call it New COVID Cases by State. And if you notice, my title overlaps into other cells. We'll talk about that momentarily. I'm going to start it off by having the state here, and I'll start with October last Monday, so October 12th. And if you remember from last week, we could easily put that there and scroll across and auto-populate that. Right here, I'll type my state, so I'll start with New Jersey. I'll choose California. You have to choose 4 states or 4 countries. Florida. Let's say Wisconsin. Of my 4 states, in these areas right here, I will fill in those numbers of new cases. And I need 3 more columns. So if I go back to my directions, let's see what those 3 other columns are. I'll scroll down. I need an average number of new cases, the most new cases, and the least new cases. So I'll go back over to the spreadsheet. I'll type average new cases. Notice that overlaps into this column. Don't let that throw you off. I'll show you how to fix that. I'm going to click in H2 and I'll type most new cases. And I'll click in I to least new cases. All right. So this is a bit distracting how these overlap. If you remember last week, I showed you 2 ways to make your columns and your rows bigger. One way would be to grab in between the letters and just drag. So now that's bigger. And I can make this bigger also. And I would do the same with this. It's required. You are not allowed to have overlapping columns or rows. The next thing I want to do that I did not show you last week is your title. Because you have a title, this title has to be merged. The way you would do that, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. In order to do that, what I do is I click inside the cell, the first cell, just like I'm highlighting. Click inside that cell and drag it all the way across until I get to the end of my spreadsheet, which is where least new cases are. I let go, and then up in the toolbar, right next to where I would change the borders, is something called merge cells. So merge cells, and I can center that, and that's how you would change your title. Remember, your row heights have to be changed. You have to add different colors. All of the directions are inside of this document, and all of the documents are 3 pages. So make sure you scroll to read all of the directions.